With the InkWell widget, you can reply to touches with splashes. We will add here different kind of splashes and also here with a different form. And we also will create in the end this custom shape. Before we go to this other design, we will start small and will build only a splash for these two buttons here. Right now, if I tap on it, nothing will happen. Let's get started by going here to the first element. This is here this heart and also the text. So here we have the text and here above we have the heart and we have put it into a row. And now we wrap this container into a new InkWell widget. So with this one you have the splash feature. And to make this work, we also need to add here the onTap function. And now if I click here on this widget, you see there are no splashes, and it is because we have here a white background. So I have here this background. I can also set it to black so you see it better. And this background is hiding the splash. And if I would remove this color, and now if I go here, then everything works fine. However, let's put here again this white background inside and it's still not working. But how we can fix this easily is by wrapping also a material widget around this InkWell. So we simply put here this material widget around and then you need to set here the color to transparent. And if you do this, and now if I go here and click on this one, you see it is actually having here the splash and everything is working fine. And in this case, we need the material ancestor for the InkWell because the InkWell is always trying to paint its reactions inside of the material ancestor. And right now, this white container is in between. So actually, the container is above this material widget ancestor, which is on top of this container. And therefore, we don't see this if we don't have here a material ancestor. So always make sure to put it here inside if you have any problems. Alright, let's also look at the other attributes of this InkWell. So first of all, we have a splash color and then we also have a highlight color. And if you set it like this and now hot reload and then click on this item, you only see the highlight color. And because the highlight color will be on top of this splash color. And what we can do is to change this and put here this with an opacity. So let's put here an opacity of 30%. And we also can do this the same for the other one. So we also put here an opacity of 30% inside. Now if I click, you see that in the background we have the blue color. So we have the highlight color and on top of it will come this red color. And this is our splash color. And normally you can add a color of gray here inside and then it will look like this here. And if you want to have a rounded splash, it is also pretty easy. You simply add here a border radius of circular inside. And if you do this, you see that we have here this splash rounded and you can also increase this. So you can set it, for example, to 80 and then you have here this rounded shape. And if you want to have other shapes, you also have here this custom border. And with this custom border, we will later create our custom shape like I have shown here in the beginning, where we also have the splash here to all this custom shape. And here inside you can choose some borders. So for example, you choose here the stadium border and then you don't need this border radius anymore and it will automatically do this here rounded. Alright, now let's look at this example and we will go here into detail about the InkWell, how we can create our special InkWell for our custom form, and we also will look at how we implement here that this color is changing, because here in the beginning you see we have a color of blue and if we tap on it you see it is changing to a color of white. And that's what we want to do, and then we also want to add here this InkWell which is rounded at the top right corner. Now we start here with this design which we have created in the last video, so you can check it out if you haven't watched it already. And right now we want to add here the splash for this bottom, so we have already created here this splash like you can see. And we want to add here this splash in a different color and we also want to make the font size then in white. So let's go again back to our actions and this is exactly here this white container. And now we want to put this code here which we have created of this InkWell into a new widget. And here within the InkWell widget of this build method, we first of all get the color and this will be our splash color and our highlight color later. And then we add here this material anchor star and our InkWell. And now we do the same thing as before. We put here all the attributes inside. So we put here the splash color inside, the highlight color, and set it to the color which we get here on top of this. And we also put here a border radius inside, which we also get from the outside world. And then we also have here this on tap, which we implemented before. And we put it also here to the outside world. After it, we also add this child and also this custom border. Alright, so now we have simply created a new widget which we can use. So I will simply replace this here with this InkWell widget. And now we need to set here some methods inside. So basically we need to set the child property, which we already did. And we also need to set the on tap functionality. And if I hot reload, you see that it is working again, and this time without this rounded border. Alright, now that we have created this new widget of our InkWell, let's create here this special case. So if we tap here on this widget, you see that it has this white color and also here, and that's what we want to add. So by default, we first of all change the splash color, and I put here a color of red inside, and then it will look like this. And now we need to change this white color, this background, if we tap on it, because otherwise we don't see the text anymore. And therefore we go into our InkWell widget, and here we create instead of a child a builder. So let's add here this function, and here inside we get if we are currently tapping on this widget or not. And with this one, we can later then change here the font color. And we also change it here to a builder. And then here inside, instead of the child, we return here a builder. And we also want to create a new field is tapped. So by default, we have here the is tapped to false. And then we can listen here in our InkWell if we are currently tapping on our button or whatever we have here as our child property, and therefore we add here this on highlight changed, and here inside we get every time if we are currently tapping or not, and then we simply set here the current state to this new is tapped. And then we need to go to the main file back and change here this child to builder, and then we have here this is tapped state, and we simply add here a color, and if it is tapped, then we want to set the font size color to white, and if it's not tapped, we have the font size color to red. And we simply go here to our font size and change it. So I exchange here this red color, and I also change it here for our icon. And now if I click here, you see that it's every time changing to the white font color, and this is only because of this field here where we change it depending on if we tapped on this item or not. Let's also add this to this field here. So we go here down and add also an InkWell widget around our container. And here for this button on the right side, we have then the color every time instead of red, we put it here to blue. And then we also go here and exchange this color. So we exchange it on the icon itself and also on the text. And we also change it here at the top. So we put here a blue color inside instead of a red one. And now it's the same thing actually. If I tap here, then it is exactly the same. So we have here instead a blue color, and here we have the red color as a splash. Before we go here further and add also this custom shape splash, we want to also add here a splash for this top icon. So it will exactly look like this, and it is rounded, the splash. And here we simply then go inside of our file to this bookmark. And then we simply wrap this container, this bookmark, around this InkWell widget. And here we put our color inside. So it should have a splash of yellow. And we also put here a rounded inside. So we make it rounded, the splash. And also this on tap shouldn't be missed. And now if I click here, you see it is having this yellow splash. And if you want to have some opacity, you can also do it. So you add here some opacity inside. And then it looks different. So maybe we add some more opacity, something like this. And we also might to change here this icon color because it is not visible anymore. So instead of this color white, we put here depending on our tap state. If it is tapped, we set this icon to black, and otherwise we put it again to white. And now if I click here, you see that we have actually this splash, and it's changing also this icon color every time. Let's go to the more advanced part of this tutorial, and we want to add here this splash for this custom shape. And by the way, if you want to get this whole source code of this project, you can get it with the first link in the description, and with the second link you can get my Flutter course where I teach you how you can become a more efficient and better developer. And here we are at this title, so we have first of all this limitless text and also a description. And here around all of this we wrap this InkWell widget, and this time we set here a color of red with some opacity. And if we do this, it looks like this. Then we have here actually this normal shape. Then we have here this splash for this whole container. And we also want to make it not for the whole width, so we want to have here some padding on the left and right side. And how we can do this is we simply wrap this InkWell widget around a container. And for this container we set then a margin, and we set it to the left side and to the right side. So we set it here to horizontal 12. And it looks then like this. So we have some space on the right side and also on the left side. And we only do this because we want to add right now this custom shape. And then it looks better if we have some space also on the left side and also on the right side. And to make this custom shape, we want to use our custom border, which we have put here into our InkWell. And therefore we go here back to the file and put here our custom border inside. So I create here this custom border field, and also I put here a custom border inside, which we want to create right now. And this custom border we make first of all extendable from a shape border, and then you need to override here 5 methods. So first of all you need to add here some dimensions. We put it here to 0. Then we also need to add here scale, where we simply put our custom border constructor inside. And now we want to get here the inner path, which you need to override. And we will later build this path out of this rectangle which we get. So basically this rect here is every time this red rectangle, which you see here. And we also need to add and override this method here, get outer path. And here also we set the build path inside, which we create later. And now we add this paint method, and here inside we also create first of all the build path, and then we want to draw it here on the canvas which we get. Alright, and now comes the most important part, to actually create this build path method. So we add here a new method and it returns a path, and we also get here the rectangle, which is exactly this red area which you see here. Let's get started by creating here this path object. And now we want to create first of all the top line. So I cannot hold this all the time. So let's look at this example here. So we have basically a line, and we want to add here some arc between. So what we do is we create here a line from this to the center. So we want to go here to the center. So we get here the size of our rectangle, and we divide it by 2 to go to the middle. And we are not going here directly to the middle, we are going here some pixels before. So we also go here to minus width divided by 2. And then we want to stay here on the y coordinate on 0. And then we want to create here this arc. So what we do is we create here actually this arc which you see. And therefore we first of all go here till the width dot divided by 2. So we go here actually to the middle. And then we want to go here some pixels down, so we go here 40 pixels down. So this is the first part of our arc. And now we also want to go here to the second part of this arc, and therefore we add here this width and 0 inside. And here everything is relative, so we don't need to put also this size width divided by 2 inside. And after we have done then this arc, we need to put the line till the end. And this is pretty simple, so we put here the size width of this widget inside, and for the y coordinate we choose here 0. And yeah, I will also quickly add here all the other cases for the right side, for the left side, and for the bottom side, because they are pretty similar, only that you change it then here on the right side, this curve, and also at the bottom and on the left side. And if we try this right now out with this custom border, you see that we have here our custom border, and the splash is going here correctly to the right locations. So it's not going here into these corners, which we have clipped away. Hello everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. Please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel here to get the latest news about Flutter. And see you soon. Bye.